Hello everyone. Come on in, sign in, tell me where you're signing in from. I'd love to know which part of the world you're signing in from. I'm going to talk a little bit about the themes from my book. So join in, especially if you are a woman who wants to make a radical change in her life. If you are that woman, join in. I don't know why my chat button doesn't work here, but it's okay. Hi guys, so we have India, Los Angeles, another India in the house, Croatia, Singapore, Malaysia, wonderful. Hi guys, Boston. So come on in. We're going to talk a little bit about the themes in my book. If you are a woman who wants to radically awaken, then this is the book for you. How to turn pain into power, how to embrace your truth, how to live free. So go to aradicalawakening.com, buy the book there. I am doing a 10-day deep dive intensive course for those who want to completely revolutionize their life. And this course is really different than other courses I've done because it really is going to have practical deep dive exercises that we're all going to do together so that we can identify our false belief patterns and break free. And you get 3 copies of the book when you sign up for the course. So the link is going to be in many places. And yes, it is good for men as well, of course, because you have to deal with awakened women. So you do want to take the course as well. You get lots of extra points from your female partner if that's the gender you're with. So we would love to see you in this course. Hundreds have already joined. You get 3 copies for free. Go to aradicalawakening.com and we can do this course together. So as a clinical psychologist, you know, many of you know, I'm a clinical psychologist and I work. Hi, Rose from South Africa. Mandy signed up from the course. Monica's from Finland. I love it. The link is being posted by my team, so look out for it. aradicalawakening.com/10-day deep dive. So as a clinical psychologist, whenever I ask people what is holding them back, what is stopping them, you know that we always get to fear, right? Fear is the ubiquitous culprit keeping us behind. But it's not enough to just know that it's fear. I mean, that any therapist can tell you, any friend can tell you, what are you afraid of, right? You always want to ask that question to yourself before you start something new, before you stop yourself from giving up completely. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of? And whether you're about to start something new or you're about to give up, it's good for you to examine, write it on your wall. What am I afraid of? Because the more you identify what you are afraid of, at least you become aware of your triggers. All our fears, all of them, besides our biological fear for survival, which is evolutionarily advantageous. Right? You want to have some fear. If you see a bear walking toward you, please have fear because the fear is going to galvanize you to run. Besides our evolutionarily advantageous fears, most of our other fears are culturally constructed. They have been given to us. So listen to this again. Besides our evolutionarily advantageous physical survival protection fears, besides that, all other fears have been culturally indoctrinated inside you and you cannot get it out of your head. Why is this so important to know? It's important to know because at least you realize that it is not something that you can't defeat. It's not something that is the holy grail. Yet, we have been raised, hi Houston, we have been raised to believe that the fears that have been given to us are the Holy Grail. And the reason I wrote this book, A Radical Awakening, somebody asked me what was the inspiration behind this book, was because I realized that I was living encaged in fears that I had been conditioned by in my childhood. And once I began doing the deep work of healing, one by one, I began to realize that those fears were simply my illusions. They were really my delusions. And I was so afraid to break free. So what are these fears that culture gives us, especially us women? Culture gives us so many fears and we just keep ingesting these fears. So what are these fears that culture gives us? Well, the main fears are fear of being unworthy, fear of not being good enough, fear of being judged, fear of being left alone, fear of not being loved, fear of not fitting in, right? Women have been taught from a very young age. It's in the milk we drink from our mother's breast or from our milk bottle. To be quiet, to play safe, to play small, to play low, to play back, to play self-sacrificing. We've been trained to do this. Now, some of you will be like, no, not me. I'm so liberated. I'm a feminist. Okay. Whether you have healed it, whether you're fighting it, it doesn't matter. The template that was put in you is a template of being low, small, and back. Now you can fight it and you can heal it. But first you have to know what the demon is. And the demon is this conditioning that women get in particular, more than men, way more than men, to stay small. Now, what are the ways in which we've been told to stay small? Oh my goodness, the list is as long as the River Nile. We've been told, be perfect. Just there, be perfect. Do you know how hard it is to be perfect? Who do you know who is perfect? So we women try to look for perfection. Where do we look for perfection? On our bodies, on our faces, in our motherhood, in our relationships, right? Whether we're perfect or not doesn't matter. The fact is that that's the tape. So when we look in the mirror, when I look in the mirror and I see all this, right? So many wrinkles. I have that voice that says I should not have wrinkles. I should be perfect. Or when I'm making food, but I really don't want to cook anymore for my family. I'm like, I hate it. I have the voice in my head, but you should be perfect, right? When I don't want to do anything anymore for anyone, I don't want to get married, I don't want to have more children, right? Whatever the woman may say, there will be a battle. There will be a battle inside the woman's brain, inside her mind, because culture has told women there is one ideal way to be. Now, many of you have said, screw that. I don't want to do that. Good for you. However, you had to go through a conflict. And the sooner we identify the conflict, the quicker we can find the ways to battle it. So women the world over have been sidestepping their unique potential. So I wrote this book because in my 40s, I'm still in my 40s, excuse me. In my 40s, when my daughter became a teenager, something happens, I think, to us women, you know. We have been checking off the list, you know, do this, do that, do this, do that. And then we have the children, we get married, we are perfect, we try to be perfect, try to have our in-laws love us, try to have culture approve of us, and we're checking. And then something happens, I think, when your kid turns a teenager or your last kid turns a teenager, and you realize that you've lived pretty much your entire life putting other people first, including child number 1, 2, 3, right? 4, 5. And when your kid grows into independence and begins to break free and is now going to leave the nest, and you realize, okay, I have sacrificed pretty much my entire life for these people, and now my kid is just leaving me, there is a potential for a wake-up call. And I had my wake-up call. And I had a radical awakening in my own life. So just to do a sales pitch now, go to aradicalawakening.com. I am doing a 10-day deep dive on how I woke up, and I want to help all of you stuck in a relationship, stuck in purposelessness, stuck in procrastination, stuck in a conflict with your body. If you are stuck right now in your life, you want to radically awaken, and I'm going to show you how in my 10-day course. Sign up for it at aradicalawakening.com, and you get 3 books sent to you all over the world. So if you want to know how I radically awaken and get help in your own life, then you get this book with the course. You get 3 books with the course. Sign up at aradicalawakening.com. So we women have the potential, when our kids grow up, to also finally break free. But because we've been so culturally suppressed, it's so hard for us to find who it is we are. But here begins the journey for the woman. I do believe it's in her 40s. So if you're out there in your 20s and 30s, don't worry. You have enough time to mess up, just like the rest of us older women have, and then you can find yourself. You know, people often ask me, is it too late? And I always say, of course not, because every moment is the right moment. Whatever is happening to you in your life is happening at the right time. Because, not because I believe in goblins and fairies who puppeteer the right time, but because I understand that things can only come into fruition when our consciousness is ready. When our consciousness is ready, the timing is the right time. So don't blame the time. It's never the wrong time, and it's never the right time. Time has nothing to do with it. The timing really has to do with the awakening of your consciousness. So anytime you're stuck, don't blame your partner, don't blame the boss, don't blame the climate, and don't blame COVID. If there's anything that needs to take responsibility, it's your own consciousness. So look inside yourself and go, wow, why am I not ready? I want to be, I talk about it, I can see it, I put it on the vision board, but why am I not ready to make a change in my life? And the answer will be because your consciousness is not yet ready. You are not ready from inside. There is something holding you back. And what's holding you back is some conditioned fear. Not a real fear. Not a real fear. Not a real fear. Do you understand? It's a conditioned fear. And do you know who gave you this conditioned fear? Other fearful, unconscious, indoctrinated people. Do you understand? We put so much power on our friends. We put so much power in our parents' lap. We put so much power in the lap of our partners. We live codependent, as if our identity depends on how many friends we have, how skinny we are, how we look, our relationship, whether our children love us or not. This is the toxicity. Now, does this mean that we are not in a relationship? No, not at all. Be in a relationship. Don't be codependent in the relationship. Don't depend on the relationship for your identity, because you will suck the relationship dry and it will suck you dry. Because your sense of self can never be found in the codependency. You can have co-creation, you can have co-connection, but you cannot have codependency. Codependency means that you are sucking the relationship for your sense of self. We women are masters at that. I am a wife. I am a mother. I am a partner. I am a, daughter. No, you are not. That is not your identity. That is a role you play, but your identity does not come from your role. One of the aspects of who you are in the world is a mother. One of the aspects of who you are in the world is a wife or a partner or a daughter. But it is not your identity. You understand the difference? And what we women have been trained to do is lose ourselves in the role, in the relationship. So, first we're trained never to find ourselves, right? From early childhood, we are taught to look outward, right? Especially little girls. A good little girl, a good little girl, a good little girl. Oh my goodness, how many times did you hear the phrase, what a good little girl you are? What a good little girl. She's a good little girl. Good girl, good girl. They go together. I don't hear people talking about good boys that much. Oh, he's a boy, right? So just having that label, good girl, even if it's not for you, but it's for the neighbor's child or your best friend, you begin to realize there's such a thing as the good girl. Now, you may not be a good girl. You may have hated being a good girl. That's not the point. The point is there is this conditioning out there in the atmosphere to be a good girl. Boys don't have that. In fact, the badder the boy, he can become president, right? So the boy doesn't have the label. And why is the label so powerful, right? In all my work in conscious parenting, I talk about try not to label your kid. It's really hard not to do it, but we're constantly going, she's so smart, she's so this, she's so that. And we want to put a label to every life experience. And typically the labels fall in good or bad. Well, we women have been shoved into being labeled in the good category. So we have to be good. And what is good? Amazing. What is amazing? Super fabulous in everything you do. What is super fabulous? Perfect. Perfect. Right? So everyone knows you can't be perfect. Men know it very well. Men don't even try to be perfect. And they certainly don't try to be good. That's why they can go on stage with scruffy beards, with punches, bald heads. They're not going to get hair implants. I mean, many are, because they've gotten caught up now. But they're not like so under pressure to be size 0 or perfect. We are. Because from a young age, we have been taught to be good. But it's not good, it's great. It's not great, it's awesome. It's not awesome, it's perfect. And there are ways to be that, right? Quiet, obedient, loving, kind, giving, selfless, right? Compromising. All of it we are supposed to do. And be skinny, and be sexy, and be amazing mothers, and be amazing cooks. And now in the modern era, go and work. What do you do for a living? So, listen, we're not victims here. And we're not martyrs. We are doing this to ourselves. We are doing it to ourselves now. We are participating in all this bullshit. And that's what my book is about. To radically awaken means to wake up to the ways in which we participate in our own suffering. How do we participate in our own suffering? That is the radical awakening. So go to radicalawakening.com. I'm doing a 10-day deep dive on all these amazing concepts, and you get 3 books for free. So go to this website and go and get my 3 books for free, and you get a course, and we're going to do this journey together, and we're going to try to pivot our lives toward empowerment together. radicalawakening.com. Buy the book or buy the course. If you buy the course, you get 3 books included. So it's never too late to blossom your consciousness. So how do we do this? How do we awaken? Right? How does one awaken? You're sipping tea and you just suddenly start awakening? No. Right? You have to be disciplined about it. You have to be persistent about it. Right? I tell everyone it's a life journey, but it's at least a 1-year life course. You have to say, I want to break free from my parents' hold on me. I want to break free from depending on everyone around me for how good I feel and for how good I think I am. I want to break free. I want to be free. I want to be free. If you are sitting there in your home or office right now, persistently telling yourself, damn, I want to be free. If you're hiding at a supermarket or in a pharmacy, or you're pretending you're in traffic because you don't want to go back to your relationship or to your home, that means you are wanting to be free. If you're dying to get out of your city and you're dying to escape on a vacation, even though all of us are dying to go on vacation, I get it. But if you're really wanting to escape your life or your relationship or your body, that means you want to be free. What that means is that you're feeling trapped. And there is a way out of your entrapment. In my late 30s and early 40s, I used to have a long bucket list. I wanted to go everywhere. I wanted to do so many things. My vision board used to be full of things. I used to be restless. And I promise you ask me now if I have anything on my bucket list, and I'm sorry to say I really don't. I really don't. Why? Because what was missing on the bucket list was not another destination, was not another thing, was not another achievement. What was missing was my freedom. I wasn't feeling free. And that's what we are really looking for when we put the Bentley or the fancy car or the island vacation on our vision board. What we're really looking for is ourselves. So when I began to realize that I was missing my freedom, I realized that it's nobody's fault. It's not my partner's fault, not my children's fault, not culture's fault. It is me. It is up to me to liberate myself. I have to give myself the permission to discover who I am. Listen, if you're listening to me, I know you are. If you are out there and you feel any resonance or echo with what I'm saying, perhaps you are somebody right now who doesn't yet know who she or he is. You're missing yourself. You're living your life just so busy, so robotic, trying to fill the empty holes, trying to do this and that and that and this for other people, making money, becoming successful, taking care of your children. If this is you, I can tell you I was there. I lived that life. I understand. And there is a way to break free. But it takes work, inner work, not anything on the outside. And when I decided that it was time for me, for the next 40 years of my life, to truly live honestly, if I didn't want to do something, I don't need to do it unless I have to do it. If I didn't want to be in a relationship, I didn't have to do it. If I didn't want to say yes, I didn't have to say yes. If I didn't want to say no, I don't have to say no. When I began to realize that I was not living honestly, and another way to say that is living authentically. When I began to realize that I'm bloody inauthentic. I'm not being real because I'm scared. I'm scared of losing my identity because I never had one. So when I began to realize that I'm in serious trouble and I'm in my 40s and I better wake up, that's when I decided to go on a path and go deep within. And then I wrote this book to help other women wake up. So if you are out there feeling like you don't really yet know yourself, that you need a push, you need a spark, you need an ignition, we need help. I have my teachers I go to. We all need help. I began reading books. I began journaling. I began meditating. So I'm here to help you. And this book is here to help you. The book is written. It's coming out next month. It's called A Radical Awakening. If you go to aradicalawakening.com, you can buy the book. or you can buy a 10-day course. It's written there, buy the course, and you get 3 books for free. And in that course, I'm going to teach you step by step. At least you'll get the steps. You may have to do it on your own, but at least you'll get the steps on what it means to awaken, how to awaken, what's blocking you, and how to dismantle that. I'm going to share with you my raw, honest process, my own journey. So go to aradicalawakening.com and hopefully you'll join me and many hundreds of others for this course. So just remember, everything that's holding you back is holding you back because you believe something false. And if you could just change your way of thinking, just make a few tweaks, I cannot tell you how your life can change. Today I had a session with a client that literally last year, she was so far from where she is today. And today I was just in shock by her. I was like, what? She's like, I did the work and I'm free. And I said to her, you look 10 years younger. I cannot believe this is you. I'm so proud of you. And she was so excited to share that she had found herself. And I just kept saying, isn't it amazing to discover who it is you are? Isn't it amazing that you're no longer dependent on others to fill you? You found yourself, you're filling yourself. And I know these things are so cliched, but it's the truth. And there is a way to find this. So go to aradicalawakening.com, join my course. It's a 10-day deep dive, all recorded. All the recordings will stay with you for life, and you get 3 copies for free. Go to aradicalawakening.com. The books are sent anywhere in the world, except if COVID doesn't want that. So I make you sign a release saying you will not hold me responsible. But I will honestly send the book to anywhere in the world. aradicalawakening.com. Join me and hundreds of other women and men to find their true and authentic self, because that is the way you become free, when you find yourself. Thank you all for listening, guys. I'll see you back here very soon. Until then.